All right. I think we're just about ready to go. Hey, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your time and your attention. I pray you all had a blessed and a wonderful day today. Enjoying this little bit of extra daylight that we have. Feels like we can get just a little bit more done. So we thank you for considering us as you conclude your day. And I'm looking for a wonderful discussion tonight. As best we can, we're going to try to make this a dialogue and not so much as a monologue. So with that being said, we encourage your input, your feedback, your interactions. We have a discussion question for tonight that I want you all to get involved in. If it's already up or it's in the title or it should be somewhere where I shared it or in the comment section. But nonetheless, the question is, what are some little things? What are some small things that we can do right now in order to make a big difference? So that's going to be the question for tonight. Of course, we're going to have some scripture references that we're going to take a look at. But again, the question for tonight's discussion mainly is going to center around that question. What are some little things that we could do right now in order to make a big difference? I think it's going to be a real good discussion. I think it's going to be real beneficial, very beneficial for us tonight. So as you're coming in, continue to greet one another. Great to have, let's see who we have already. Let's see, thank God for Sister Brockington, or the Brockingtons. Also we have Sister Anime, thank you for joining us, and to the Johnsons, that's Laverne and Larry, to Sister Tammy Oliver, and to Yolanda Gibbons, and to the Gaskins, to Sister Kendra Adams. Did a wonderful job last night, by the way, with the devotion segment of the Stitch Sisters gathering. So heard it was a wonderful turnout. Sister Adams, Sister Kendra Adams did a wonderful job with the devotion segment part of that gathering on last night with the ladies. So we're grateful to God for her doing that. And to the Wilkins and to the Goodmans, to Sister Carolyn Brockington, great to have you all with us tonight. And again, as you're coming in, let's make sure we're tagging and also make sure that we're sharing this session tonight with someone who may want to become a part of this discussion for tonight. Again, we're going to be talking about, adjust my light just a little bit. We're going to be discussing this question that has been posed to us. I think it's a really good question that can lead to some other discussions that we need to have concerning just our life as a whole. So what are some little things? What are some small things that we could do right now in order to make a big difference in our lives? Okay, so that's the discussion question for this evening. And also, we're still in that vein, talking about getting into position. And also, we were reminded that in order to get into position, we've got to do some little things. We've got to make some small adjustments here and there. It's not always something huge. And a lot of times people don't make those necessary changes in their lives because they think that it has to be something major. It has to be something huge that they have to do in order to start making those changes or making that difference that they're looking for. Think about it like this. A large ship, or a tanker for that matter. Just think about the size of that ship. And because I'm a former Navy guy, in order for that ship to turn, the rudder would have to go either way. And the rudder is small in comparison to the size of the ship. Okay, the rudder is very small in comparison to the size of the ship. But look at how small it is in comparison, but just that slight turn of the rudder causes that huge ship to change course. So this is what I want y'all to think about as we're preparing to discuss this question. I think Brother Greenhard has something up there as some small things we could do right now to make a big difference, make a daily habit of reading your word. That's a good example. So what are those little things that you could do? That huge ship that you see in the ocean, thousands of tons, but yet and still the helmsman, which is the one that drives the ship, the helmsman, when he turns that rudder, it causes that huge ship to turn in whatever direction that the captain has ordered for it to go in. So that's how you have to see things. You have to look at life, look at situations to where, you know, it may not seem like much, but if I just make some small adjustments here and there, it may be subtle, but after a while, that entire ship will begin to change course. So that's what I want you to focus on tonight. Those little things that you could do, those small things that you could do, in order for the course of your life to change directions, and whatever that may be. So let's start off here. To give you an idea what we're talking about, first and foremost, the obvious area where we can make small changes is the spiritual aspect of our lives, right? So for discussion's sake and for the direction that we're heading in tonight, go ahead and put in the comment section, let's get the obvious out of the way, where we could make some spiritual changes. Okay, so that there's Sister Kendra put up there, obedience to the word. I think that was Sister Paula Johnson that had patience in certain aspects of our lives, having patience. So those are some things that you could do, little things that you could do, little things that you can apply to your life that will make a drastic change in your spiritual walk. Now, this covers it covers a broad area of our life. We said spiritual, right? So somebody help me put that in the comment section. I was going to make a list of it, but I want you to do to help us out with it tonight. Participate. So we can make some small changes spiritually, right? That we can do that. We can make small changes, little changes here and there, spiritually. So item number one would be make small changes spiritually. Okay. So somebody put that in the comment section real quick. So we can make small changes here and there, little changes here and there, that make a significant difference in our lives spiritually. So we've already had a couple of already. So we had Brother Green, he mentioned that making daily reading a habit, making that a practical part of our lives consistently every day, reading the Word of God. Then we had patience, and then we also had so we had reading God's Word, and we had patience, and what was that one that and obedience to God's Word. So those are three things that we could do. That would, you know, make a significant change spiritually in our lives. Okay, so spiritual changes, so spiritual aspect of our lives. So you can, if you have those, and I'm just going to leave the chat up. I also want you to take note of what are some things that we can do in our lives that will help us physically. Okay, so we've got spiritually and we've got physically. So what are some little things? What are some small things that we could do physically that could make a big difference in our lives? Okay, so good. That's number one. Make small changes spiritually, and we can make some small changes physically as well. All right. So y'all keep up. So what are some things that we could do that would make a huge change in our lives physically for the better? Okay. What are some things that we could do physically in our lives that's going to make a huge difference? I like that. We can fast, and I like that because that works both spiritually and physically as well. Sister Hall, great to have you tonight as well. Make better food choices. Little small things that'll make a huge difference in the long run. Now notice that some of the suggestions that are being put up here, they're small, but they're not always easy to do, especially when you're talking about physical changes. First Lady's got drink more water. Small changes, but they're going to make a huge difference in our lives. That's right, keeping our temple clean. And we talk about keeping our temple clean. I like that because there are just some levels to that as well. Keeping our temple clean will also relate to not only what goes in our temple physically, but also what goes in our eye gates and what goes in our ear gates. Those type of things, which affects us. It can affect us physically as well. So I'm talking about little things that can make a big difference in our bodies physically. That's good. A nature walk to clear your mind. That I love that, because that also can apply to spiritually and physically as well. Because I believe that taking walks like that is like stealing away, and not only does it help you physically, but it also is a type of meditation as you take that daily walk to, as she stated, to clear the mind. Sister Gail says, focus on at least one person to win them to Christ in 2025. That's the spiritual category. That's a good one. So we made the statement one Sunday, we can't, and I mentioned this in Hazelhurst too. Yeah, it wasn't Hazelhurst, it wasn't at church last Sunday. Can't win the whole world, but what I can do is I can win one soul at a time in the spaces that I occupy. So guess what? That's a small thing in comparison to the larger work that needs to be done according to the Great Commission. So yeah, that's a good one, Sister Gail. Just say, you know what? This year in 2025, I'm gonna do something small. Even we know it's huge spiritually. We know the angels rejoice in heaven over one soul that comes to him. But in comparison, according to the metrics, to win one soul is small, but it has a huge impact, not only for that individual, but for the kingdom at large, according to the work that needs to be done with the Great Commission. What are those little things that we could do physically? So we've got spiritually, we've got physically. That's good, Sister Kendra. Exercise. Did you know that your body was made to be in motion? That y'all see how these could stand alone as topics within themselves. Just like your spirit man was made to be active and in motion, your physical man was built and it was designed to be active and in motion as well. As a matter of fact, the more your body and the more your spirit man is in motion, is active, the more healthier it becomes. When you become stagnant, just like water, when it doesn't run, it becomes stagnant, and it becomes of no use, no good for anybody to drink or to provide any sustenance for anybody. But when it's running, there's something about running water. There's something about a moving physical body. There's something about being active in the spirit. So I like that, even though she's applying that to physical, but you can kind of see how it bleeds over a little bit into the spirit aspect as well. So now, y'all keep in mind, these are just little things that we could do that can make huge differences. That can get us off certain medications, bring about certain healings in our body, those type of things. If we just say, you know what, I'm going to start doing this one thing, and I'm going to be consistent with this one thing. So now, since we're still, I guess we're still on the physical part. Now we've got more daylight time, right? Okay, the weather's warming up a little bit. So what you can do, based off of the things that we've named already, I'm going to take about 10 to 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever time will allow you to do. I got a little more daylight hours, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to end my day, whatever that looks like to you. I'm going to end my day with a 15 or 20 minute walk, and I'm going to be consistent with that. I'm going to be consistent, just that one thing. Somebody put up drinking water. I'm going to be consistent with this one thing. I'm not going to do 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. Just one little thing that I need to start doing in order to make a major change in my life. And then you just can begin to build off of that. We've got spiritually, we've got physically, and here's another one. What about financially? What are some small financial adjustments? What are some small financial things that we could do that will make a big difference in the long run? This is Karen Brockton's got that up there also. Again, drinking water can make a big difference. So what are some small things that you could do in your life? in order to make a big difference financially. That's another big one, right? That's another big one. What are some little things? Okay, so we've got a few people say drink water. So now we're on. What about financially? What are some small things that you could do financially in order to make a big change? I like that one there. Sister Hall says, stop going out to eat so much, or don't go out as much. That's another good one. That's a big one there, ain't it, for some people? Let's cut back on our shopping. There it is again. Stop eating out as much. Less spending. Those type of things. And notice in these comments that are coming up, something that I've always said, it's not always, not saying it's not, but it's not always about how much you're making, so much so as it is about how much you are spending. Okay? I like that. Say, Brother Green had to step out on faith and invest in you. Here's a way I like to put that also, Brother Green. We're so conditioned to, when we get paid, we pay everybody else, but learn how to pay yourself. Okay? Learn how to pay yourself. Sister Kendra, that's an aspect of it. Start a savings account. That's a type of paying yourself. When you get your paycheck, when that income comes in, you shouldn't always just think about who you have to pay. You should get to a point where, you know what, out of all this that I'm doing, that's a good one there. Get your paying your bills on time, and that's going to get your credit score up. That's good, Brother Wickle. The same thing that Brother Sister Hall just said. Work on your credit. Learn to adopt this little habit. I don't care if it's 5, I don't care if it's 10, I don't care if it's 20. Start working on paying yourself. Like Sister Shirley has put loose change back weekly for a year at a time. That's a good one there too. That's a good one there. Pay off vehicles. That's another good one. I saw somebody has something. I'm gonna have to look on my phone because I can't go back on my chat here. Well, that was Brother Goodman say Amazon shouldn't come every day. That's a good one there. So here is a good habit. Pay yourself. Listen, I'm not saying it's not about how much you make or don't make. That's a good one there. Sister Perry said she had to learn to stop loaning out money and put that money back. That's a good one there. That's a very good one. So check this out. When you get paid, you got a list. I got my pen here. I don't know why I always need props. You got a pen and you start writing down. No, that's right. No, she said, "No" is my new song. You start writing down everybody you have to pay, and if you notice, a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, I dare say, your name is nowhere on that list. You're the one. That's right. That's a good one. Investing in the things of God. And I want to jump on that. Don't let me forget that, because I want us to be specific on that too. Because what does that mean, and how do we do that? We'll get to that in just a second. So if you notice that a lot of times the list that we make as to who we have to pay, our name is nowhere on there. We're the one that put in the hours all week long. We're the one that got up in the morning or got up in the middle of the night to go and work those hours on that job. And nowhere on that list do you see our names as someone that needs to be paid. Okay? Listen, and I know we've got responsibilities. I know we've got bills. But at some point, somewhere, this is something that my wife and I had to learn. Make sure that your name is on that list, to where you make sure you pay yourself too. Whatever that looks like, however much that is, and be consistent with that little thing. Don't deviate from it. Don't touch it. Just say, this is what I'm paying myself. Every payday, I'm paying myself $25, whether it's a savings account or whether it's some type of investment account. This is what I'm paying myself. Somebody put that in the comment section real quick, and I'm gonna move on from that. Make sure you pay yourself All right. While you trying to pay everybody what you owe them, make sure you know what you owe yourself too. You owe yourself. That was something that hit me a while back. You know how when we owe them, we owe that. You don't owe yourself, pay yourself something. All right. And then that will enable you to be able to invest in the things of God. So what do we mean by investing in the things of God? I want to make sure we get clarity on that. So oftentimes we are not able to invest in the things of God because we don't manage the small areas like we should. So Sister Tammy had that up there. I think Brother Green had that up there as well, something similar to that about investing in the things of God. So the way you can do that is by first doing the little things, managing your finances responsibly, understanding that it's not always just waiting on your ship to come in. Instead of waiting for your ship to come in, sometimes you just got to stand on the bank and you got to throw your reeling rod out there or put your cane pole out there, you know, instead of just sitting there doing nothing and waiting on a ship to come in. Okay? So what you have to do is do what you can with what you have right now until you can do better. That's a good one there, Sister Shirley. Late fees will kill you. Okay, and depending on who or what the creditor is or who the creditor is, those late fees can also affect your credit as well. So yeah, adopt that little habit where I'm not going to be late with these creditors and people that I owe. I'm going to pay them on time. Now, out of all these little things that we're doing financially, now this frees us up to invest in the things of God. Okay? This frees us up. So what do we mean by investing in the things of God? I'll put this out there since it's something that we're working on now in our local ministry. We have a Easter pledge coming up. We have a building project coming up. And this is something that that is a major part of what God has called us to do in and through the local church. So there are going to be different areas of ministry being performed and carried out in that building, in that church. So as you contribute, as the Easter pledge comes up, I'll even go a little bit further. As you have already been giving every Sunday and contributing to the ministry all the way up through these years and up until this point, that is an area or a way of investing in the things of God, things that are lasting, things that are eternal. Because think about this, as you're investing in the things of God, investing in the kingdom, there may be other examples, but just following this for right now, just look at the people that are being blessed and they're being discipled, the young people that are being influenced and groomed and trained for kingdom service, all of the auxiliaries, anywhere from Sunday school to you name it, anything that happens in that building, guess what? As you contribute, you are contributing to the things of God as you are doing that. Let's go outside the church. When you're able to be led by God, to be a blessing to someone, from a grocery store, checkout line, you bless someone, or you see someone in need that you know about and you have the means and the opportunity to do so, guess what? You're investing in in things of God. So the list goes on and on. But those are just a few things that are at the top of my head. Whatever God has told you to do personally, to minister or to be a blessing to someone, whatever that may look like and whatever that may be, that requires monetary contributions, then that is definitely qualifies as you investing in the things of God. It's not just exclusively for contributing to a church, but as in a lot of cases, it does relate to that, or you can get a lot of things done through the local ministry. And here's what I mean by that. Not everyone can go on a mission trip, but through the Church of God, we give to missions. We give to the orphanage facilities that are being built here and there. Those type of things that we may never get a chance to do. But as we give and contribute to our local ministry, those resources are distributed in different areas for starting new churches, planning new for church plants, for retired ministers, and for missions. I think I've already mentioned that. Those type of things. If there's a pastor or a local congregation that is in need, all of your contributions that you give to a local ministry, as it relates to the Church of God, that is, I don't know about any other churches, but as it relates to our denominations, your resources, your contributions are distributed accordingly as we give. So that's what we mean. I want to kind of break that down a little bit when we talk about giving to the things of God or giving towards the kingdom of God. Things that look like that. So what are some other things that we could contribute in small portions? Just little things that we could do. How about relationships? How about marriages? Relationships in general, but marriage comes to mind. What about doing little things? What are some little things that you could do in a relationship? A marriage, for that matter. Or you may think of any other type of relationship, but what comes to mind is marriages. What are some little things that you could do? And I'll just come back over here in just a minute until the chat pops back up. So what are some of those little things that you could do in order to make something big happen in that relationship? Somebody give me an example of that. That's a good one there. I saw show your appreciation, and I like that, Brother Green. That's yours right there, man. Wash the dishes, help out. A weekly date night. I like that, Sister Hall. That's great. A weekly date night. If I can jump back on there real quick, was that Sister Kim had that? Show appreciation. Be forgiving. That's another good one. That show appreciation is deep. There are some layers to that as well. Show your spouse that you appreciate them, that you see them. I use that term a lot. That I see you. I see your contributions. I see your investments, the time and the energy that you put into this relationship. That I appreciate that. I saw Sister Tammy had communication. Sister Tia has extend grace. Yeah, that's another powerful one. That's a good one. Did you know that in every relationship there are learning curves? There are different abilities. There are different things that we excel at, and different things that other areas that we don't. It goes on and on. Extend grace. Okay, help them out in those areas where they are having that learning curve. I like that Sister Shindra had communicate, and she had compromise. That's another good one there. Scripture that comes to mind: consider your brother before yourselves. Consider one another before yourselves. That's not for the church. That's for every relationship. That you should have some level of compromise in that relationship. Listen, here's that analogy that I've given you guys over the years. It's like a roller coaster ride. A relationship is like a roller coaster ride. You've got two people on a roller coaster. And as that roller coaster takes dips and turns and curves and loops, make sure that you're not the only one having fun on that ride. Every now and then, y'all heard me say this, every now and then, look over at your partner and make sure that they're having as much fun as you are. Because oftentimes, what I've seen over the years is that one partner's not having fun and the other one has never taken time to check on them to see how they are doing. So every now and then, just look over and say, hey, you okay? How are you doing? Are you enjoying this ride? Is there something that we could change, something that we need to do better? Because just because I'm enjoying the ride, that doesn't mean that everything is all right. Okay, we won't go on that too much, but that's a good one. That's good, Kim. Don't always point out what's wrong. Don't always point out what's wrong. From our relationships and things we've been taught in the leadership trainings that I've gone through, from group dynamics and being a part of a group, trying to get things accomplished and get things done, that's a very, very good point to make. that when you come together as a group or you come together in any type of relationship, you don't want to start out with what's wrong and what hasn't been done right. Start out with complimenting and letting them know that, hey, you know what, you're great at this, and I want to let you know that I appreciate you for doing this, and this. You don't always want to lead with what's wrong, because what that'll do is that'll make that individual think that, hey, no matter what I do right, no matter what I do that contributes to the relationship, it never gets acknowledged, it never gets appreciated. So those things that I do well, I just back up from them. But if you lead with compliments, lead with the fact that, hey, I notice what you've been doing and I appreciate that. That should be stated more so than those things that you see wrong all the time. So that's good. That could be a whole different topic as well. But that was real good. This one says, it said, don't expect me to be always great. And I think I'm getting that. Don't expect me to be always great. Kind of expound. I don't want to make sure I'm getting that comment right, Sister Hall. I don't want to get that wrong. So kind of elaborate on that just a little bit. I kind of got an idea, but I want to make sure I don't take your thought wrong. That's good. Unity is the key. And we're talking about these. See how all these little things here, just little things that we could do in order to make things better, to make a huge impact, in our relationships. So we covered spiritual, physically, and we talked about financially, spiritually, physically, financially, and relationally. So and take one little thing, commit to it, be consistent with it, and then watch the changes that take place. Watch those changes that take place. We had a meeting Monday with our 2025 vision team. And one of the things that I told them is that we need to make sure that as a ministry that we are doing the little things consistently and correctly. That's good. Surprise each other. Keep it spicy. Be spontaneous. So I told them, I said, hey, in order for a ministry to thrive, we've got to be consistent and focus on those little things. Do them well and do them consistently. Okay, here it is. Sister Hall says, sometimes I may fail at what I've always done. Again, grant me grace. That's good. That's good. That's great. Extend grace. Here's a scripture, Sister Hall, that comes to mind now that you've given that a little more detail on that. It says that two are better than one, and then it describes how if one fall, another one is there to pick them up. So that's good, because I'm not going to always be the one that's upright and so-called has it all together, or like you said, be great. Sometimes I'm not going to be at my best. So extend that grace to me. Be that one that's by my side or in my group or in my circle that will extend the grace to me also, to pick me up and pull me up when I'm in need as well. So that's good. So see how this theme or this idea that we've been in for the past few months now about getting into position, and that led to small things, and how doing those little things make a big difference. We talked about on this past Sunday how David, as he was sent to serve his brothers on the battlefield, how that small act of servitude got him in a position to where he could do something great. Okay, and oftentimes we're looking to kill our Goliath, but we're not doing those little things to put us into position to have that opportunity. I'm gonna say that again. Oftentimes we're looking for our Goliath. We want to sling that rock, and we want to cut off his head, and we want the victory, we want the accolades, and that next level. But in order to get into position to even have that opportunity, you've got to pay attention to the little things, pay attention to detail. Once all of this unfolds, as a ministry and some other things that are going on in my life personally. And once I'm at liberty to share those things, my wife and I, we are living witnesses, and we're seeing God do some miraculous things for the church as well. Simply because we have been doing small things, just little things here and there, And now as we're looking back and we're seeing how, you know what, I was just telling my wife today, I say it's amazing to me that if we hadn't did that little thing, if we hadn't did that small thing, then it would not have come into play with this thing that we now need on this stage. So my encouragement to all of you, keep doing the little things, keep doing those small things, and those small things will lead you to platforms and lead you to opportunities to where you can do something huge. This was the takeaway from 1 Samuel chapter 17 on this past Sunday as well. That I hope you were truly blessed by that. We're talking about how when David was discredited, if you will, was looked down upon, I think is a better term. He was looked down upon, and Saul told him, you're not in any position, you're not capable of taking on Goliath. And so as he was looked down upon, he reminded Saul and the rest of them. He said, now, I paraphrase, I've done little things that y'all don't know about. How many of you were blessed by that this past Sunday? We talked about I'll fight him. I've still been feasting off that. I'll fight him. If nobody else will, I'll fight him. Why? Because unlike you, I've done little things that people haven't seen, little things that have gone unnoticed, nobody knew about, just small things. I haven't been on a big stage like this. I've never been to formal training like you all have. But I've been doing little things. Now, just as sure as I'm sitting here tonight, if you commit to something small, whether it's spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, get there in your home, get there with your friend, your family members, whoever that may be, and say, hey, let's take on the spirit of David. Let's take this on in the spirit of David. And I really want y'all to get this, because I think there's something to this. Let's take this small thing on with the attitude and the spirit of David. He was committed. He was diligent. He was fearless with those little small things. One little old lamb was being taken off. Y'all see that? Those he was committed and he was consistent. He had integrity and character when it came to those small things. So he was telling King Saul and the rest of those that were around, I have taken on a lion, I've taken on a bear. They were running off with my lambs or my sheep, or my fathers for that matter. And I handled things that were small in comparison to what's out here. I've handled and I've dealt with small things in comparison to what's going on out here on this battlefield. Okay? So he was letting them know that I'm qualified to handle whatever is in front of me. At that time it was Goliath. Why? Because I've done little things. Now let me show you how this is in line with what we've already been talking about tonight. Those finances. You take that little bit, pay yourself, invest it, do whatever, savings account, whatever. Be consistent with that little thing. Be consistent with that little thing. That $25, that $100. Don't touch it. Don't mess with it. Don't bother it. Be consistent. Have integrity. Have character. Have self-control. And watch this. You do those little things for so long, and after a while, you can accomplish something big. Watch this. What I mean by that, you can pay off a big debt. A big issue may come along, or something big comes up to where you now have the funds to take advantage of it. That's something that actually happened to us as well some years ago. a good opportunity came along, but we were not in position to take advantage of it. So that a lot of life lessons that we learned along these 32 years we've been together, that taught us that if we just start doing little things, do little things, and when big opportunities come up, you're ready. For those of you who are age appropriate, and what I mean by that, if you're young, which I wish I would have learned way back, but if you're young, if you're age appropriate, do those little things in your 20s. Do those little things in your late 20s. Start doing those little things. And then by the time you become of age, 50, 55, 60, whatever that age may be for you, now you can do big things. Now you can retire, you can pull back from certain job responsibilities. You don't have to work as hard. Why? Because when you were young and age appropriate, you did little things. You took $100 and you put it back. On the job, you participated and you contributed to the investment matches, the 401k matches that went on your job. You contributed to your 401k. Your job would match your contributions. You took advantage of that at a young age, and now you become of age and you're ready to start what I call hit the cruise control button. You start ready to ease down and start coasting into retirement. Guess what? You're ready now. Why? Not because of somebody laid hands on you and money fell out the sky and all this stuff, and I'm not gonna get too much into that, but we are too caught up on big things happening, so much so until we look for somebody who can tell us to sow a seed, and in 30 days we get a big old check. Somehow we did something weird and spooky, and then something just fell out the sky, and all of a sudden you went to the mailbox, there was a big old check there, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about being consistent with small things, like the Bible teaches. We went over those things Sunday, a few of them. How God honors and acknowledges the little things. So I'm talking about being prepared, being good stewards over the little things, over the small things. Again, it's not always about how much I make. Not always. Not saying it's not an issue, but it's not always the problem. Sometimes it's just a matter of us managing what comes in versus how much we have going out. So spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, I think those 4 areas are enough for tonight. I want you to continue to think about, and I want you to get serious about this, y'all. I want this year of 2025 to be the year that we stop just making resolutions, that we just stop looking for gimmicks and all these other type of things that have gotten us nowhere. But let 2025 be the year where I am getting into position. I'm going to position myself for a blessing. Not just waiting on a blessing and being all out in left field, but there's a certain position that I've got to be in order to receive certain blessings. So how are we doing that? So what is that looking like for us as a local church, what we've been teaching? In order to get into position, in order to be in position to be blessed when opportunities come, we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start doing little things here and there. Do little things here and there. I want to cut back on this. I want to implement that. It's not nothing huge. It's not 5 or 6 or 10 things. Just one little thing. And be consistent with that. And then once you master that, or in other words, I think Brother Green had that earlier, once it becomes a habit, it becomes a part of you, then you can do another thing. Now, statistics say that if you do things for about 21 days consistently, it becomes a habit. Now, of course, that's just statistics. That's just, something that's out that I've heard over the years. If you do it for 21 days, drink water for 21 days, or eat a certain dietary restriction for 21 days, or change dietary eating habits for 21 days, they say that it takes 21 days for your body to adjust and to become a part of what you do. It becomes just a natural, practical part of what you do every day. In order for you to adjust, I think it's a better term. may not apply in all other areas, but figure out what is that one thing that you can do as a household, as an individual, as a church member, as an auxiliary participant. What are, as leaders, what are some things that you can do? Just little. What are some small adjustments that you can make to your life that's going to make a huge difference? Now, I heard Sister Sandra earlier in the through the comment, I should say, she said that, you know, her one thing as relates to relationship is just say no. That's huge. It's small, but it makes a huge difference. Say no when it comes to loaning people money and those type of things. This is where we are now. Again, we believe God can do big things. How many of you believe that? We believe God can do big things, but we also believe that there are little things that we can do consistently and doing them the right way that can also produce big things as well. And at any moment, we are believing God for the supernatural, for the unusual. You know, we're believing that. By no means are we not leaving room for God to do whatever he wants to do and however he wants to do it. By no means are we discrediting or not acknowledging the sovereignty of God. But what we are saying is this: that we are workers together with the Lord. That when we do things, we do them as unto the Lord. In other words, we're doing our part. We're making sure that we're doing our due diligence when it comes to sojourning and traveling through this earth. So let it begin here. Let it begin by sitting down and evaluating our relationships, our spending habits, in other words, how we manage our resources and our money and our time. Sitting down and having honest conversations, hard conversations, making up your mind that, you know what, we've been doing this long enough, okay? We've been in this long enough. We've been allowing this to go on long enough. Watch this. And this thing didn't happen overnight, but we've got to start somewhere. And I'm going to let this kind of be my last statement for tonight. I want to put it this way as well for somebody. Maybe this will help you. I don't know if you ever have like a laundry room, or you got a room in your house that you haven't touched in a while. It needs to be clean. It's kind of gotten out of hand. How many of you ever been there, or you got that going? You know what I'm talking about. And sometimes the reason that we don't tackle that room is because it's so overwhelming that you really don't know where to start. Anybody ever been there? You kind of don't know where to start because, you know, it's kind of gotten out of hand. It's a little overwhelming, so you just kind of just leave it alone. Well, how do you tackle that thing? One item at a time. That's how you do it. Don't look at the room and just become overwhelmed with all that you have to do, because we do it. Most of us do it. Well, I ain't gonna touch that room because I don't even want. Because we're standing back and we're looking at how big it is and how much has to be done. But in all actuality, if it's just one day, do one thing. Come back the next day. Spend 5 minutes in there. Spend 10 minutes in there. Just a little bit here and there. A little bit here and there. And guess what? After a week or two or however long, depending on what needs to be done, after a while, you've done little things here and there so long, and you've been consistent with doing little things for so long. Now, what seemed like a huge task has now become manageable, and now you've almost got it knocked out. You've almost got it knocked out. Why? Because you do little things here and there. I use that example because I want you to look at your life as a whole that way. Sometimes people have big financial goals. You have huge financial responsibility. You say, well, I don't know how long this is going to take, and this, that, and the third. And, oh, man, I don't know how. Man. Just start somewhere. that I'm just throwing a number out there. That $20,000 debt that's huge, man. That's a lot. Guess what? You tackle it by saving 25 here, 20 there, 100 there, 50 there, 5 here, there, whatever. You do what you can. You chip away at it. You chip away at it until you chip that thing down. It becomes manageable, and before you know, just stay consistent at it. Just throw the number out there, but just stay consistent with it. Be diligent about it, and then after a while, you have that big thing tackled, and you have that big thing under control. Why? Because you did little things here and there, here and there, here and there. Sister Perry says she's got little things she's doing. She's got a project going on. She's doing a little thing, doing something every month, and that's how y'all. Sometimes that's how you got to tackle life. That's how you got to tackle life. But please, by all means, do not just sit there and do nothing. Don't just let your health decline because you just refuse to get off the couch. You just refuse to change some small eating habits here and there. Don't just, like Bob said, don't just sit there and die. But do what you can. Like those 4 lepers. They said, why sit ye here and die? Why should we just sit here? Yeah, we got some things wrong in our body. Yeah, we got some odds are against us. But you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to just sit here and do nothing. We're not just going to sit here and complain about our condition. Y'all see that? So by all means, please, ma'am, please, sir, don't just sit there and do nothing because you say it's too big. Those 4 lepers covered in leprosy, they say, you know what? We definitely don't have a chance sitting here. So we're going to try something. In other words, we're going to do something. And that's my encouragement to you tonight, is do something. Matter of fact, if y'all could read that account in the scriptures tonight, or when you get a chance, about those 4 lepers, and how as they were marching towards the camp of the enemy, every step they took, what is good here? Every small, y'all read that. Every small step that they took, it was just 4 men, but every step that they took, God made their footsteps sound like an army. How many of you can recount that story, or that? How many of you can remember that account in Scripture? Those lepers, as they marched towards the enemy's camp, look at this analogy, every small step that they took, God made it sound big. So instead of it sounding like 4 men walking, it sounded like a whole army coming their way. And I'm just believing that. Every little step, I want y'all to hear me now by the Holy Ghost now. Every little step, spiritually, physically, financially, relationally, God can't make your steps sound big if you don't take no steps. Every little step that you take towards whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, may God make your footsteps bigger and much louder than they actually are, to produce and give you a results that's going to literally blow your mind. Why? Because you did small things. You did the small things. I'll tell you that'd be a good devotion for somebody. Go ahead and get that and turn to that tonight. Or you read it in the morning before you go about your day, or even tonight before you end your day. Look at how God, again, I'm gonna stress this again. God took the little steps that they took. Just 4 men, they were just walking. And guess what? You're just gonna keep walking. You're gonna keep doing all those things we named tonight, from the finances to the dietary changes, to the relationship intentions that you're going to start doing deliberately in your relationships. Those little steps, and God starts making them pound against the ground. And by the time they got to where they were going, the entire camp was empty, and all they had to do was go through and just pick up what they wanted. That's my prayer for you tonight, that you would experience that as you do the little things. As you take those small steps, God would be at work with every step that you take, with every step of faith, with every step of commitment, with every small step of sacrifice that you make, consistency, that every step that you take, that just like those 4 lepers, it would pound the ground and that it would disturb some things. Why? Not because you did something big, but because you were doing something small in the name of the Lord. I feel that in my spirit, y'all. So I want y'all to take that, read it for yourself, pray over that, and say, God, I'm going to commit to doing this little thing. I'm going to commit to doing this little thing in my house, in my life, towards concerning my body, concerning my finances. And as I do this little thing, God, take the little thing that I'm doing and you make it big. Remain consistent, because remember, they kept walking that way. And you know what they said? There's a possibility that we could be killed. But they kept doing it anyway. They kept doing it anyway. And God turned it into something. So that seemingly small, insignificant thing, you're in a tight situation right now. There's your scripture right there. Thank you, Sister Sly. 2 Kings chapter 7, verses 3 through 20. There may be a small situation you're in that's creating a huge issue. Hey, just keep grinding at it. Keep grinding at it. Keep grinding at it. Take that small step. Be consistent. Have character. Have integrity. God will honor that. And I just see, as you take those steps, God will honor every act of faith and trust and commitment that you have. God will honor every step that you take. And I just believe, y'all, that God doesn't have us in this vein for no reason. God did not tell us as a church, and I believe it's for, I spoke this in Hazelhurst as well. I don't believe this is just for the Lighthouse. I believe that this is a clarion call, that God is speaking to the entire church, the body at large. Hey, I need my people to get into position. And if y'all are just looking at the signs of the times and what's going on, I just believe that this is a word from the Lord. Not that he hasn't spoken in the past, but I just believe that this is something that we need to heed to with a sense of urgency. That God is saying, get into position, get your houses in order, get your finances and situations and relationship, just get in position for me to bless you for whatever's about to take place. All I know is God is just saying, get into position and start by doing those little things that's going to get things in where they need to be. All right. So I just want to share that with you all tonight. We're probably going to conclude this on this coming Sunday. Again, we're so grateful to God for what he spoke to us on this past Sunday. And we're going to conclude this thought from the Lord on this coming Sunday as well. We're grateful to God for you joining us tonight. And also I want to make mention of we're grateful to God for I received a call. I don't normally mention names tonight, but I think it's okay because of the correspondence that I received. We were praying for Sister Sandra Gibson. She had a procedure that was done today at Emory, and we're grateful to God that we got a victory report that all is well, and that procedure went well, and we say to God be the glory for that. So if you would give the appropriate response where you are right there for God answering prayers concerning her condition and her situation. I also want to make mention of that we solicit your prayers for our brother Edward. He was in an accident on the other day, and we're not exactly sure where he is at the moment because it was pretty severe. So we're asking that you all would consider him in your prayers, and as we get more information concerning Brother Edward, we will definitely let the church family know. Of course, we will not do it on this public platform, but we will give you the specifics as much as we can concerning his condition. So we do ask that you all would consider him in your prayers. Again, he was in a pretty bad accident the other day. So as we get more details, we will definitely let you know how our brother is doing. We will pass that on, of course, to the community care team so they can be up to speed on his condition as well. But for now, we're grateful to God for you considering him in your prayers, that he would have a speedy recovery. Our First Lady said he's still here in Crawford Regional. There was talk of them flying him out and giving him to another facility, but as First Lady just posted, he's still here. We wasn't sure whether he had been shipped out or not, but she just said he's still here. So consider him in your prayers and your thoughts and your considerations as you go before the Lord in prayer. Again, we are grateful to God for you being able to join us tonight. If you can and will, please, man, please, sir, we invite you to come and be a part of us, worship with us, I should say, on this coming Sunday at 11 a.m. We're looking for a wonderful time in the Lord. If you cannot make morning worship, but you're able to come and spend about an hour and 15 minutes or hour and a half, we have a dynamic adult Sunday school session that goes on every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. and concludes at 10:45. You will not be disappointed. And if you can't make it in person to our adult Sunday school classes, for our Lighthouse members, we have our Facebook members page where you can tune in right there in the comfort of your own home. You can participate in Sunday school right there on our Facebook members page. This is for Lighthouse members only. You can tune in to our Sunday school lessons right there on our members page. Again, we're looking for a great time in the Lord. Continue to pray for the ministry. Continue to pray for our services coming up. A few engagements that we have lined up. We do ask that you would continue to consider us in prayers, and thank you for your support, whether it's been monetarily or where it's been through prayer, encouragement, whatever your contribution has been. We are grateful to God for you considering us. And I think that's everything that I have for you tonight. She's kind of waiting on First Lady. She kind of reminds me of things that I missed. But I think I pretty much covered everything tonight. So with that being said, hey, may God continue to strengthen your hands for the work that he has for all of us. And remember this, y'all, what's the takeaway from tonight? Do those little things. Be consistent in those small things. And then just watch them turn and watch how they affect the bigger things in your life. Again, grace and peace, everybody. And you all have a wonderful evening.